Welcome back to California Cooking. Today, I'm getting you ready for Thanksgiving with the most amazing ice cream pies and some delicious sides, including crispy Parmesan thyme sweet potato stacks, an acorn squash lasagna with a creamy bechamel sauce, and maple glazed carrot and parsnips with bacon. Let's start with a local ice cream shop that happens to be one of Sam Rubin's all-time favorites. For Thanksgiving, Sweet Rose Creamery serves up all the best flavors of the season, so Sam and I had to sample them all. Take a look. Hi, Shiho.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Well, you should be great. This is the great. So the Brentwood Country Mart, which is the, has been around forever, but the single most important store at the Brentwood Country Mart.
Thank you so much.
Well, Sam was saying you probably recognize his daughter. She's here so much.
I am very
Your
sure.
number one customer.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of schools around here and a lot of school buses.
Yes.
Congregator.
Everybody gets dropped off in front of our area.
But you know what? It's true, because one of my favorite things to do with my son after school is like take him to get ice cream. And it's just something like nostalgic about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Always all-time favorite would be vanilla,
Yes.
just because
Vanilla. Okay.
you can do anything with it.
But you have
right?
all the flavors at your fingertips, and you choose vanilla. I think
Vanilla.
that's very interesting.
Yes. But I definitely love mint chip.
Mint chip for the holidays.
Yes. And next month we'll have lots of peppermint flavors.
Oh yes,
But,
yes.
Is there a bestseller?
Definitely mint chip, I would say.
Is it really?
Yeah, because we
Wow.
do all the fresh mint. We
Yes.
pick everything and we steep it.
Where do you pick your mint?
The mint comes from Kenta Canyon. It's definitely local, so we get a lot of those. We also mix our own chocolate chip
Yeah.
and we crunch them by hand.
So for Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
obviously there's scoops and sundaes, but there's
Definitely.
pies.
There's pies.
Ice cream pies.
I love pies, but when we first started Sweet Rose, we were like, okay, what do we do for Thanksgiving? And we were like, well, of course, we have to have the traditional Thanksgiving pies, but in ice cream form. So we do this pretty much every year. We have apple pie, pumpkin pie, and pecan pie, and they're all ice cream. We started with all dairy flavors first, but we switched to dairy-free flavors with a pumpkin. So pumpkin is for dairy-free. If you're vegan, that's probably your go-to.
Can people order their pies now, or is
Oh
it?
yes, we decided we are going to offer all of those pies from the very beginning of the month until the end of the month. So you can come whenever.
I like that you applauded.
And please come.
And if you're an ice cream traditionalist, I'm just looking at some of the things. Salted caramel pie, I'm sure is very good. Of course, whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And also vanilla. You can go, of course, with your pie that you make at home. We also have cranberry orange frozen yogurt, which could be really good.
Should we go make some pies?
Let's make some pie.
Yeah? What flavor should we make?
I think I'm going to show you today pumpkin pie.
Okay.
I'm in.
Pumpkin pie time.
Pumpkin pie time, yes.
So what's going to happen? What do we have here?
We have this gingerbread crust with pumpkin ice cream. Pumpkin actually comes from Tutti Frutti. You can go have their pumpkins at farmer's market in Santa Monica. And then we mix it with coconut cream, some sugar, and we spin it all together. So it's kind of creamy, but it's a bright yellow color because it's kabocha squash.
Yeah.
So it has more yellow color to it. And then right here, we've been whipping aquafaba meringue. And aquafaba comes from chickpea. It's usually the water, or you can get the powder form. That's what we do. And then dilute it with water and add sugar and a little bit of cinnamon, and then whip it so that it is like it's a meringue. So now it's ready. Would you like to try it?
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, that's so good.
It's good and
It's very flavorful.
very flavorful.
You can bake this too and make it into a hard meringue.
Texturally, you would think that's an egg meringue.
Right. Yes. The light touch is the thing, right?
Oh,
I think people are too
definitely.
heavy-handed, right?
I like things light, especially when you have ice cream. You want like light whipped cream or meringue,
And you are generous. with the meringue.
Yeah, I love how it looks.
Sam, are you gonna get ice cream pies this Thanksgiving? What
Yeah,
are you
now.
doing? Oh, your cinnamon sugar.
And then you just, sprinkle on top.
And now we get to taste.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay, here we are. We have pumpkin pie
Yes.
and pecan
Oh,
and apple pie.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Yo, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Now the tough job of taste testing them all, Sam.
all right. I'm
Okay.
gonna stop with the apple.
Okay. The joy this man has in his face when he eats pie. So appley,
Very apple.
right?
All right, on to pecan. This is really good too.
What if we make you rank them? You couldn't.
It's like picking amongst your children.
You couldn't do it.
Wouldn't. The crust is so good on this one.
We love making everything from scratch here.
And what's the base ice cream?
The base ice cream is brown sugar.
And there's a layer of fudge. The first hit is like the best ice cream chocolate sundae
Yes.
you've ever had.
You're great.
And then it
Right.
develops into something
Everything else. Oh my gosh.
Now to our pumpkin masterpiece.
We saw it being made.
Yeah.
They're all amazing.
Yeah.
This is the most sophisticated.
Okay, the pumpkin.
Yeah. All right, but we have to return here. Excuse us.
I'm having such a lovely time on a beautiful day
Right.
in November eating pie with you. We should do this more often.
Anytime.
From dessert to Thanksgiving sides, crispy Parmesan thyme sweet potato stacks, an acorn squash lasagna, and carrot and parsnips topped with bacon. That's coming up next. She is a New York Times bestselling author and founder of the very popular food blog Half Baked Harvest. Tegan Gerard has so many picture-perfect holiday recipes, including these crispy Parmesan thyme sweet potato stacks, the perfect dish to add to your Turkey Day lineup. In an effort to come up with new spins on dishes for Thanksgiving, I think this one's going to be a fun one. So Tegan, I love Tegan Gerard. She has the greatest recipes on Instagram and in her new book, Half Baked Harvest, every day. It's so easy and accessible, and she does this potato stack. This, in the book, is just using Yukon potatoes, but for Thanksgiving, she has a recipe using sweet potatoes. So really, the key to this recipe is a mandolin. If you don't have a mandolin, you can use a knife and just do pretty thin slices, but a mandolin will give you the exact same slice every time. So you don't even have to peel them. You just, that's it. Just watch your fingers. That's the scariest part about a mandolin. And I have about, I think right here I've got 4 or 5 sweet potatoes already ready to go. So here's the muffin tin. So for Tegan's recipe, she places all of these sweet potatoes in a bowl because you want to coat them in butter. And then a few spices as well. But in they go, and you add 1 stick of melted butter. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit of olive oil too, just to make sure everything's coated. Heavy pinch of salt and black pepper. This is a really easy recipe. I love it. I would do fresh thyme, but I couldn't find any at the store. They were all out of fresh thyme. So I happen to have dried thyme. Fresh garlic, just grated in. And what's great about this dish, you don't have to dirty up any pans on the oven. All you need is a bowl and a muffin tin. Parmesan cheese, already grated. Also manchego, which I don't use very often, but it's kind of a nutty, and I just grated it. And that's it. Now you just want to coat all of your potatoes. Now this is the fun part where you make the stacks. So, and that's why you want your potatoes to be around the same size. So you just, like stacking cards, a little messy, and you put them in the muffin tin. And then they cook together so they make this cute little crispy stack. Okay, now we take our potatoes, cover them with some aluminum foil. They're gonna go in a 400-degree oven for about 40 minutes, and then we're gonna take the foil off. Look at these bubbling. Okay, those are hot, hot, hot. Let those cool for a little bit before we touch them, but they're crispy and cheesy and buttery. Let's take our little stacks. Oh, they're crispy on the bottom. Oh man. And because of the cheese and the butter, they cook together and make the cutest little stack. And all of the cheese has formed this kind of crunchy crust around the potatoes. Perfect thing to put on a platter, and your guests can just take a little stack. Also, because there's so many things on the Thanksgiving table, sometimes you just want a little bite of something. Last thing, I'm gonna just top it with a little bit more of the Parmesan. And there you have it, your sweet potato stacks. Perfect for your Thanksgiving table. From sweet potato stacks to a Thanksgiving lasagna, using acorn squash, a great make-ahead dish for a less hectic Thanksgiving day. Sometimes when you think about Thanksgiving, all you want are the traditional things on the table. You want the mashed potatoes, you want the green beans, the stuffing, and I do too. And if those things aren't on the table, then it's not Thanksgiving. But sometimes I think it's nice to throw a couple of things in there that surprise maybe your guests, like this one, which you hear a lot of families that love to serve like mac and cheese on Thanksgiving. My family never did that, but I was thinking if we take a pasta dish, let's say a lasagna, which is so easy to cook ahead, just pop it in the oven day of, but if we cut up some acorn squash, and that kind of served as the meaty part of the lasagna with a creamy bechamel, I don't know, we could be onto something, so I thought, let's give it a try. And anything with squash obviously makes you think of Thanksgiving, so I'm going to, first things first, cut up some rounds of acorn squash. And basically I cut it in half, scooped it, all the seeds, a sharp knife, and then you just kind of, cut it into slices. And I'm gonna roast the slices, and then these will go as a layer in our lasagna. And I just leave the rind on and everything because it does get soft in the oven. Line these up on your tray. And I think what's gonna be good about this squash is it has a little bit of a bite to it, right? So you don't want your lasagna to be just kind of all mush. You need something that's got a little bit of texture. Olive oil, salt and pepper, just keep it simple. Okay, now just use your hands, get them coated, and then pop these in the oven. I've got the oven at 425, so I'm gonna start it there and probably turn it down. So I'm gonna make a bechamel to go into our acorn squash lasagna. Here though, to start the bechamel, I thought it'd be nice to get some onion going, just saute half an onion in some butter, let that get soft, and then I'll build the bechamel around that. Our onion has softened a little, so I'm gonna do the bechamel. Now, to that, even though there already is some butter in here, 2 more tablespoons of butter. I put about a tablespoon in there to cook the onion. You're gonna melt your butter, and I put a little salt in the onion too, because you wanna flavor every step, season every step. 2 tablespoons of flour, and then you wanna cook the flour, right? Because you don't want that raw taste. Let that go a minute. We're gonna start with 1.25 cups milk. I use whole milk, and then we can always vary if we need to. So get the whisk going. While that's bubbling, let's grate in some garlic. So I have 3 cloves. So you want this bechamel to taste quite flavorful. So we have our nutmeg, a fat pinch, and see, this is pretty thick. I might even add a touch more milk. This is where you kind of play around and get the consistency you want. And the longer this cooks, the thicker it gets. So I'm turning it off. So this is probably 1.5 cups of milk at this point. To that, some parm. Some grated, yummy Parmesan cheese going in. Now we're gonna build the lasagna. Our squash is out of the oven and it looks so good. It didn't take very long, 30 minutes probably. Soft, caramelized. I had it on 425, and that's what you want, these caramelized little bits. But then you get some texture from basically the rind of the acorn squash. Gets a little crispy, so perfect. Okay, to build our lasagna, I have the no-boil noodles. We've got our bechamel that has the garlic, the onion, the nutmeg. So first things first, you put some bechamel down at the bottom. Our lasagna noodles. Let's take our beautiful acorn squash and make a layer. I like where this is going. On top of that, we are going to do mozzarella. And you could do the shredded mozzarella. I got these kind of fresh mozzarella balls, which I love fresh mozzarella, so either one, but basically you just cut some slices of mozzarella, ricotta cheese. Just in between the mozzarella, last layer, bechamel, some Parmesan cheese to get all nice and brown on top. Because it evokes feelings of fall and it's also great with squash, some sage leaves, some fresh sage leaves on top. Drizzle of olive oil so it gets nice and brown, and it's ready to go in the oven. Oh yeah, our acorn squash lasagna is out of the oven, but wow, is that beautiful. It's bubbly, it's golden. I took the foil off, kept it in the oven for probably another 15 minutes, and that's what you want, the cheese to be brown and bubbly, the sage crisped up. That's good. Okay, I gotta cut into this. See what it looks like. Look at that, you see the layers, the ricotta, the mozzarella, the bechamel, and then I don't know if you're a side lasagna person or a middle, but I love the side where it's got the crispy bits on the end. It tastes like Thanksgiving. Who knew? Maybe you'll try it this Thanksgiving. Coming up, one more side for your Thanksgiving table. I'm making maple glazed carrots and parsnips with bacon. For our last Thanksgiving side, I'm roasting up a veggie dish, but I'm gonna switch things up a little. I'm gonna add in some parsnips and then top it with my favorite, crispy bacon. Take a look. Since we're talking side dishes for Thanksgiving, carrots is a popular one. My mom would always make kind of a sweet carrot with brown sugar. So I was thinking something easy, right, that you don't have to spend a ton of time on, but also the familiar flavors that you know and love, carrots. But I'm gonna roast the carrots with some parsnip. And parsnip, I would say, is a cross between a potato and a carrot. It's got some sweetness, but it's a little starchier. So basically you just peel your parsnip, and they're very readily available at the grocery store, and when you roast them and get them all nice and brown, they're sweet, they're nutty. And I thought, let's throw in a little maple syrup. Maybe we glaze these in maple syrup. And back on the stove, I got some bacon going. So we're gonna see what we can come up with here. I'm thinking sweet and a little vinegary from some apple cider vinegar, and some crunch from some toasted pecans. So let's start by cutting up our parsnip. And I'm thinking just kind of sticks. Like that. Parsnip, I don't think is a very popular vegetable, but it really should be. And I think it's perfect for Thanksgiving because it is a great vegetable for roasting. Parsnips done. Now we've got our nice, pretty, I like the long carrots. They have the tops on them. And if the tops are pretty enough, you could just leave those on. Carrots. Okay, bacon is cooked. I'm gonna take the bacon and put it on a paper towel, and you want it nice and crispy. I did about 6 slices. We're not gonna waste this bacon grease, which has all the flavoring and the salt and the fat. So that, not all of it, but enough to coat our veggies. tell your vegetarian friends, warn them before they eat these carrots and parsnips that there's bacon grease. But if you are opposed to bacon, which my husband is, I could make this with just a brown butter or something and omit the bacon grease and the bacon altogether. These are beautifully coated. You're gonna put them in a pretty hot oven. You wanna get them nice and brown. I would say 425. A drizzle of our maple syrup. Good maple syrup, real stuff. And it makes all the difference. So these are gonna get nice and caramelized. To that, a little bit of salt. The bacon grease has salt, so you don't wanna go nuts. Pepper. Okay, these are going in. Coming in hot. Our roasted parsnips and carrots in a little bacon fat. And that's what you want. Look at these little brown bits on the parsnip. That's where the flavor is. Before I plate them, I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit for some tang, apple cider vinegar. So just get a little platter. Gorgeous. I have some toasted pecans. So I just roast them on a pan for a couple of minutes. And then our bacon, sprinkle that on top. And last but not least, we've got some fresh parsley. Green on the plate always looks pretty and festive. And there you have it, your roasted veggies. For the complete recipes on any one of those delicious Thanksgiving sides, you can follow us on Instagram. Well, that does it for us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.